Once upon a time, not so many years ago, Warhammer 40,000 established the gold standard for logo downgrades. Whereas the old was heavy, impactful, and resplendent with gravitas, the new was thin, flimsy, and inconsequential. Whereas the old was overflowing with personality and the weight of a solid marble pillar, the new resembled nothing so much as a sticker pumped out by the tens of thousands from a Shanghai factory. But to yet again further reinforce and prove the truest words ever spoken in the human language, it can always get worse. This was the old Games Workshop logo. This is the new Games Workshop logo. Words become poor indeed when comparing the two, as this is a crime against God and nature, against decency. It is an affront to artistry and an insult to style. It is the font equivalent of a bestiality gang rape in a pig pen recently strewn with AIDS-infected needles. And believe you me, I thought it was bullshit too when I first saw it. I could not believe that this could conceivably be the logo of a $100 million corporation. But no, it's real. This is Games Workshop's logo. This is their first impact flash to the world, their statement. Something that a random on Twitter could improve upon in paint with 5 minutes of labor. And what is far worse than merely just the design itself is what it means, is what it communicates to us all, because I guarantee you this cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. This took a team of hipster, soy mocha latte swilling, bearded, beanie-wearing gays months, if not years, to produce. And you know what? It is, in many ways, the perfect logo for Games Workshop in 2025, as it says everything you need to know about the state of Warhammer, about 40,000, and Games Workshop in the current year. So, let me take you down a quick little trip on memory lane here as we elaborate on this. Once upon a time, this was Warhammer 40,000. Striking, beautiful, interesting, vivid. And it wasn't just the Space Marines, all of the factions were like this. We recently played the massively overlooked gem of a game, Rights of War, on this channel. And again, I'm just sitting there watching the units like, holy God, this looked so much better. The units had so much more character. And this, classic of a piece, it is drowning in detail. Like, all of the cool stuff, all of the stuff in the background, you got Warhounds, you got Gargants, you got spaceships, you got Thunderhawks, you got Space Marines, giant guns, power fists, orcs, barbed wire skulls. It is amazing. This is a piece that speaks to the soul of a setting. War is everywhere. Mad, brutal combat on a scale undreamt of. This is Warhammer 40,000. And what do we have today? Well, we have stuff like this. Bland, banal, lacking in colour, and with the depth of a piss pool. Focused more often on, well, the colours of the characters involved, more so than the actual story that it's attempting to present. Or you simply get stuff like this. Perhaps an even better example, the recent Chaos Dwarves. They're not Chaos Dwarves. They're simply not. None of their design has anything to do with the Chaos Dwarves, except perhaps the height of their headpiece. I made a whole video on this. They're not Chaos Dwarves. They have none of their signifiers. They have none of their identity. They have none of their style, none of their aesthetic. The only comparable qualities is that they're short and that their hats are sometimes tall. And all of the worthless additional idiotic detail, like all of their weapons having magic in them. Their spears have magic. Their swords have magic. Their maces, guns, and flamethrowers are all powered by the exact same magic that does whatever the hell the setting needs. Does it make the sword sharper? Yes. Does it make it fire bullets? Yes. Does it make it fire flames? Correct. Why not have a sword flamethrower blunderbuss at that point, as nobody really cares about the setting anymore. It has no character. What the hell even is this? There's a deer person over here with some flimsy-ass spear that looks like it'd shatter against this angry dwarven female thing. Hell, it's even difficult to tell if they're supposed to be dwarves due to the lack of beards, and there are even better examples than this as well. Okay. This is a rather famous figure, Torquemades Cortez, a puritanical inquisitor that became very famous because of this drawing. Now, I can't remember if this was on the Codex cover of Grey Knights or Witch Hunters Codex, way back in the day, but it is another classic. It is striking. It is beautiful. It's full of details. He's in the wolf. There's a hellscape in the background. There are priests saying prayers for him. He's got a massive hammer wreathed in lightning. There are little familiars flying around him with purity seals. He is waging war upon hell itself, it seems. It is a fantastic piece, and we have its equivalent released just last year. Demon Hammer. It's enough to bring a tear to your fucking eyes, isn't it? You laugh so as to not cry. It is obvious that these pieces are inspirations of each other. It is the same character. It's the same pose, it's the same weapon, it's the same outfit, but how infinitely poorer is this? How infinitely less impactful is it? How less stylish is it? It has none of the aura, none of the weight, the feel, the impact, the inspiration of the previous piece. It's all been sucked out, drained dry. There is no soul anymore. The people who are working on this and this, they don't know what Warhammer is. They don't know what 40k is. They have at best a theoretical academic understanding. They've read a book at some point. Oh, Chaos Dwarves, they're short dwarves with magic, right? That's all they know. Oh, the Inquisitor dude, he's got like a hammer and is like lightning-y, right? Again, the logo right there. This perfectly exemplifies the difference between Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer 40,000 or something? And this has been going on for a very long time. Now, we've talked about previously why GW is doing this. Again, why this is the perfect logo for Games Workshop, because they don't want you anymore. They hate you. You know the lore. You know the setting. You complain over stuff like this. You point out their flaws. You laugh at them when they go, oh yes, the 8th Legion, the Ultramarines. You mock them for that. They don't like it. They want you to be consumers, casual fans that buy the next box set they put out and shut the fuck up. The reason why this is the perfect logo is because they are waiting for another company to roll on in and staple theirs on top of it. GW wants to be bought out. They don't want to be Games Workshop. They don't want to be the creators of Warhammer 40,000. They want to be Amazon LCP. a subsidiary branch. And this began again, years and years ago. I remember I made a big deal about Warhammer Adventures. And I'm going to bring this up, because it was, it's not symbolic of anything. It's not a sign of ensuing disease. It's just a silly little thing about kids. It's harmless. No, this is where the rot begins, one step at a time, until you wipe out the entirety of a setting. I'd like to show you here its descriptor of Warhammer 40,000. The Imperium of the far future. Life in the 41st millennium is hard. You'd think it was parody. Life in the 41st millennium, it's a bit tough. Yes, my brother-in-law's wife was raped to death by a demon dog just yesterday, and then it skinned her and wore her skin, and then fucked my brother-in-law to death too. Tough days, but hey, it's not as bad as the planet next over, which was invaded by the Tyranids. I heard they really suffered before they were finally put out of their misery. Ruled by the Emperor of Mankind from his golden throne on Terra, humans have spread across the galaxy, inhabiting millions of planets. They have achieved so much, from space travel to robotics. Again. Space travel. That's true. How do they travel through space? Oh yes, by tearing enormous pulsating anuses into hell and then diving their spaceships in. Space travel. Yes, it's normal. It's like all other settings space travel, right? Yeah, it's fast and light. Yeah. Yes, with some tentacles and occasional rape beasts. And robotics! Ah, yes, the Imperium of Man. A staunch proponent of robotics. What's that? Abominable intelligence? Nanoseconds required to decide to wipe out humanity? Well, true, but we still have robotics, kind of. You know that prisoner from the prison planet? Yeah, the one whose brain we lobotomized, and we tied his nervous system into a mechanical system that caused him infinite quantities of pain every second of every day, just so we could program him to open a door in a voice command? Robotics! It is beyond the point of parody. And yet, billions live in fear. Why? What is there to be afraid of in this universe of space travel and robotics? The universe seems a dangerous place. Seems. That's okay, it's actually relatively safe, but it's a little dangerous occasionally. Teeming with alien horrors and dark powers, but it's also a place bristling with adventures and wonders. Wow. Where battles are won and heroes are forged. 12-year-old Zelia is going to go explore this universe now and play with the Necron tier. Holy shit. Again, I get it. Stupid books for stupid children. I agree. But it should never be a setting for children. The very fact that somebody in GW managed to raise the point of a Warhammer Adventures, which, by the way, completely and utterly flopped. I don't think they've done anything with this since the first couple of books, because... duh! That somebody felt this was a wise move in Games Workshop is symbolic. It is indicative of a far deeper malaise, where the company no longer knows what it is. This should be an idea that should have been laughed out of the room at the first meeting. Jack should have reached up his hand and go, hey, I'd like to make Warhammer 40,000 with a 12-year-old main character. The man should have been thrown out on his ass immediately for even daring to suggest that a child should be exposed to the 41st millennium. Never mind starring in a book series about it. See, this really is a slow creeping cancer. It begins with entertaining the idea that the thing isn't really what you thought it was. It begins with entertaining the idea that it isn't a bombastic, over-the-top setting, that it isn't supposed to be magnificent, colourful, warfare on an enormous scale. You begin to scale things down. You begin to focus in on the wrong things for the wrong reasons, until eventually, very soon thereafter, you're sitting there, surrounded by people who don't really know what's going on. You don't know what they're writing about. You don't know what Warhammer 40,000 is, what the universe is about, or what it's supposed to show us about ourselves, our universe, or the stories it's supposed to tell. All they know is that it's pretty popular, we'll probably move some copies here and there. It is a venue for their own stories now. It is a venue for their ways of viewing the world. And you simply cannot create something like this if you don't care. You simply cannot create art like this if you don't have some sort of an investment or an interest, even merely just to the level of thinking it's cool. You will only be able to create this. Like, oh god, the dynamism, like the movement, the feeling of impetus in the piece compared to the utter static nature of old man shouting at bushes. And it is slow. It is very, very slow. It takes decades, years and years and years, but the signs are always clear to read, and the people who read them will always be called out for taking things too seriously. No. Canon has to be an absolute. A universe needs to be an absolute. The respect for the setting needs to be absolute. Because if you give it anything less, the moment you start doing this, you will lose it and replace it with this. Bland, soulless, uninterested. A lack of conviction, a lack of zeal, a lack of drive, of a willingness to actually create something. This is a product now. And it isn't even a product in the form of Warhammer 40,000. They're not even seeking to move the actual miniatures to the end consumers anymore. This has become a sellable IP now. Which is why they're focusing so much on making Amazon happy. They want to move beyond talking about selling plastic figures and move on to selling the Space Marines as a whole. They want to sell the company as a whole. They want to simply become another corporation like Disney producing entertainment. And even the entertainment itself, like Hammer and Bolter, the failed online entertainment show, which is yet to earn any actually money back as well, even after having scaled down its production, 3 times? Because they simply can't afford to produce the quality of content they need to actually retain an audience. Those who remain, they are the Fairweather fans by and large. That is who they wish to replace you with, and it is what will kill the company. Make no mistake, this is the death knell of Games Workshop as a business. This is the end of Warhammer 40,000. But just like the plague itself took decades to set in, the end too will be long and protracted, drawn out. It will take 10, 20 years, depending upon the success of the Amazon TV show, because they do have now the cultural impetus to push forward, to gain those Fairweather fans who will look upon Warhammer 40,000, as they already have, as a vehicle for politics, among other things, and go, hey, that's that thing that's popular. I know about that thing. It's the next Star Wars. Oh, I've always been a fan of this thing. Oh yes, I read a short story about a 12-year-old when I was a kid. Oh yeah, I am deep into the 40k lore. Absolutely. I watched a YouTuber once, etc. They will move in. They will outnumber the fans by 10 to 1. GW will rejoice. They'll be bought out by Amazon, they'll be riding high, and then slowly, like Disney, like Marvel, like DC, like all of these entertainment entities, they will begin to drop off. The quality won't be there anymore because nobody who cares works there. There's no soul. Sooner or later, they will then be replaced, or simply kill themselves due to the inability to accommodate the standards of their audience. The fair weather friends will turn away from them. The fair weather fans will move on to, hey, Star Wars is back again. This is a popular thing now, or the next popular thing. And 40k will be forgotten. It will, best case scenario for it, have enough money granted to it by its overlords to live on as a shadowy shell of itself, like the dreams of Walt Disney. But make no mistake, Games Workshop and Warhammer 40,000 is dead. We are now simply just watching the corpse twitching. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.